Afternoon, everybody. Jeff from Rust Bucket Valley Garage. Whenever I do a video, I try to take and save you a little bit of money. So today I'm going to show you how to take and make a tool that just on the tool will save you $60 to $70. And then when you use the tool, it will save you about $90. So we're going to start out with a piece of metal that we got from our metal supplier, and this is a 2x2 L channel. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the horizontal bandsaw, and we're going to take and chop this piece into two equal lengths of 2 feet each, because this piece is about 4 feet. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we have these pieces in half, and to make sure we're on the right path, we have to make sure that these two pieces are exactly the same length. The reason we want to take and do that is because this is going to turn out to be a precision instrument that you're going to be building today. Okay, so we have one piece on top of the other piece, and we're comparing the length, and we're right there. Okay, so when we finish up everything, we're going to be using a 60 grit flap disc to take and clean up everything, because we want to take and put a paint job on these things to keep them from rusting. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be doing, since we have them to 24-inch length, okay, because we started out 4 foot, now we have two 2-foot pieces. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to take a metal cutting saw blade off of our big metal chop saw, and right here on the inside we are going to take and put a slot approximately 2 inches down, so that there's like a channel in here, and that's the easiest way to do it, is using our big chop saw. So we'll go ahead and we'll mark, we can freehand it. This part right here is not that critical, but it has to be flat on this surface here, so it'll be on the inside. So anyway, we'll take in and just take and freehand that in the chop saw, and just be careful doing this operation. All right, when you're making the slot and you have the blade running through there, don't twist it or anything, because it'll grab the material and they can do some very bad things. This is the way I'm going to do it. It may not take and work for you, but whenever you're working on stuff, please be careful. We take no responsibility for your actions, only our own. So we're going to go ahead and set that up, and we're going to take and measure this out, and then we're going to head and make that slot. So we've stuck this into the cutoff saw, and we've made our grooves, and they're both on the same side. Okay, and we've done all 4 of them. It's approximately 2 inches in. This dimension is not critical. However, there is a burr on here. It's very thin. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a small, very small file, and we're going to take and file this edge just a little bit. However, on this surface right here, okay, this is going to be a basic reference surface, so don't do any cutting or grinding on that one. Okay, and you'll find out later on why that is. Okay, as I said, this 2-inch dimension is approximate. It's just something we came up with, but don't do any cutting or grinding on this surface here. Okay, so we're going to go deburr all this, and then I'll show you what the next operation is going to be. So we have all these deburred, okay, and everything's nice and smooth. We used a very small file to take and clean these slots up. And on the other side, on all 4 of them, next thing we do is, since this is 2 feet long, we take and find out where the center line is, and we took soapstone and we marked and squared up a center line in there. Okay, so what you want to do next, you may have guessed what this project is. If you've been on the internet at all and you've Googled or searched on YouTube for wheel alignment tools, you will see that the wheel alignment tools are anywhere between $80 and $120. Okay, and they're the kind where you take a tape measure and you put it in here. You put one tape measure in the front and one tape measure in the back. After this bar is mounted to your disc, and then you measure. You set your wheel alignment toe like that. Okay, so what we're doing is we're building a set of those tools, and so far, other than a little bit of labor, okay, and since it's for your own use, your labor is free, but I have about $25 in this. Okay, and this will be the only expenditure that I have to make is this metal. So what you're going to do with this center line, you are going to take and put a hole in this area here and a hole in this area here, so it will take and mount on your disc. Okay, the way you take and figure out what this is, okay, first off, you want to know what size hole you want to take and drill, so that these wheel studs will go through there. Okay, these wheel studs are measuring approximately 0.466. The closest drill that we have on there is a 31/64. So we're going to be using a 31/64 drill to take and put the holes in here, so they will take and fit over these studs no problem. Okay, to find out exactly where the holes go, okay, you want to measure down probably an inch, I guess, so that you got some meat here. When you go drilling a hole in this thing, that it'll be very strong. So this is hot rolled steel. Okay, so what we did is we took a digital caliper and we measured between these 2 points right here. Now, when you're measuring, these blades on here are sharp, okay, and if you measure like this, okay, you're going to get a false reading. The reason is because these things are sharp enough to go into the threads, okay, so what you want to do is you want to measure like this, where you take and catch like the top of the thread. Okay, so what we measured on this particular one right here, okay, this is one of the old disc rotors off the S10, is we measured 2.336. Okay, the reason we added 0.465 to it is because we want the holes to be in the center. So what we did is we measured the exact diameter of one of these studs, and we put 0.465 to that measurement there, and that will bring us right to the middle of where these studs are. Okay, and it came out to 2.801. Okay, so if we go on here and we go to 2.801, and we'll get that tuned in here. Just a second, real close, just a little more. There you go. Okay, 2.801. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll lock that off. Okay, set screw on the top. Then you want to take this and put it across these two studs and make sure it falls approximately in the middle. Okay, in other words, you're checking your math and you're making sure that your math is reasonable, because the thing is, once you start making marks on your metal and you start drilling holes, and you make a mistake, you're going to have to weld that up and do it again. Okay, so you don't really want to do that. Okay, so since we have a center line here, okay, we want half on this side, half on this side. So what we're going to do is we took the total amount, which is what was between the studs, plus the diameter of one stud, and we came up with this number here, and then we took that number and we divided it by 2, okay, and it's 1.400, okay, because I don't have tenths on my my digital mic. It doesn't go out that far. It only goes 3 digits. Okay, so 5/10 ain't really going to make that much difference. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to set the mic for 1.400. All right, so we'll set the mic for 1.400. Okay, bring that in a little bit more. Too much. Okay, want to make sure that we hit that. There we go. Okay, and we'll take that and we'll lock it in. Okay, using the set screw there. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take and go on the center line right here, and then we are going to scribe a line on here, because these points are sharp, okay, and they will take and mark the middle. Okay, so the center mark is not marked. Okay, so once you get your mark at 1.400, you will have a line right here, which is going to be one of the holes. Okay, then you want to set your mic again for the true measurement of 2.801. Okay, and then so that will be the distance between this one here that you marked and the one on the other side, and then you'll make sure that you have 2.801 between the two marks, irregardless of the center line. Okay, you want those holes to be dead on. All right, so you reset your mic to 2.801. Okay, and then go ahead and make your mark. And then what you're going to do is you are going to punch that, okay, so your drill does not wander. And then you're going to take a smaller drill and you're going to take and drill that on both pieces, okay, and then you're going to step drill that up to the 31/64. Okay, set your drill press on slow speed and use a little bit of lubrication on it, and go ahead and put your 2 holes in there, and then take, once you get your holes in there, you're going to take that and you're going to try it on here. Okay, now there is going to be some interference, okay, and the interference is going to be the hub. Okay, so what you can do is you can figure out how much you have to take to remove here. Okay, and out of this edge right here, you'll either grind it if it's just a little bit, or you're going to wind up with a mark on here that may possibly look something like that. Okay, so that's not exactly what it is, but that's for illustration purposes only. Okay, so the next 2 things we're going to do is we're going to lay out our holes, and I showed you how to do that, and then we're going to do a test fit on our rotor, and we're going to find out where the interference for the hub is, if there is any. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and grind or cut that out. Okay, and then I'll show you what happens next. So as you can see, we've mapped out the lines. We went 3/4 of an inch from the edge, into where's going to be the center of the hole. And then we also take and we got our 1.4 from here to here, and then we opened the caliper back up to 2.801, and then went from this hole to this hole, you know, jumping over the center hole. So we want to make sure we maintain that span. And then what we did is we center punched this, and we went ahead and used a very small drill like this to take and go ahead and drill all the way through. And then we used a big drill, the 31/64 to go ahead and go all the way through. Okay, so we went ahead and we tried the piece under here, and the lugs line up well, but the thing is, at the top here, right here, we have an interference from the hub. So what we did is we drew a line a 1/4 inch down on here, a 1/4 inch from this edge in, okay, and we drew a straight line, scribing a line in there, and then we still have our center line on the other side. And then we just found something that was round, and we used like a can, and then we used the soap marker or soapstone marker to go ahead and mark that out. And we wanted some guide, so what we did is after we got the circle on there from the can, and let me show you what that looks. This is the area that we want to remove to allow the hub to take and come through. So we've already done that on the other one here. And what we did is we took a cutoff wheel, and we made about 1/8 inch cuts down to the line all the way across. And then we took a 60 grit flap wheel, and then we ground that out till we got the profile. And we got to clean it up just a little bit, but it looks pretty good. And then you want to take and always check your work. So we went ahead and we put that on there, and it fits. Okay, so that's very important. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to manufacture the other one, and then I'll show you what the next step is. So I didn't want to take and leave this out, so we got it marked out, and we got our little cuts in there, and we use that with a cutoff wheel, and then we're going to take the flat wheel and smooth all that out. Okay, so we got the holes drilled, we got this nice and smooth and everything. What we want to do is we want to take and deburr these holes a little bit, and we'll be doing that with a 90-degree countersink. Just go in there, hit these both sides, okay, and clean those up, and then we're going to go over to the milling machine. Okay, so here we are, we're almost there. Okay, we have pretty much one more operation to do, and this operation will totally control the quality of your measurements. Whenever you take and install this onto your disc brake rotor on your front, okay, and these holes here are going to have to be drilled for your specific vehicle. Okay, this is not universal. I'm just going to be using this on the S10. If I want to take and use it on a Jeep, I'm probably going to have to take and slot these a little bit on the milling machine or something. Okay, but this is just going to be used on the S10. Okay, when the tape measure is put in here, okay, there's a couple of things that I'd like you to take and know about this. Okay, the first thing is this slot here is not really important, okay, but when you take and put a tape measure in here like this, it keeps it from sliding out. Okay, so a single person can take and do this this measurement. Okay, since you have this on one side, okay, this lip right here has to be like calibrated a little bit. Okay, the way they take and make rolled steel is they roll it through dies when it's hot. Okay, and you can see there's like a crown on it. Okay, and the crown is uneven. Okay, so we can't have that. We need a nice square edge on there. So what we've done is we've chucked this up in the milling machine. Okay, and we are going to take and machine that edge flat. Okay, and then we are going to very lightly deburr it, and that is going to put all the accuracy in this tool. Okay, and this will be the second to the last operation, and so we're getting really close. So we're going to take a 1/2 inch end mill, and we're just going to take a couple of passes off here until we get that flat, and then we're going to set the machine. We're going to lock everything down, and then all the other 3 ends, the other end of this end here, and this end here, are all going to get the same cut. Okay, so we'll have the accuracy of a flat area on all 4 pieces. Okay, let me go ahead and get that started up, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we've gone in with the milling machine, and we've cut these surfaces flat. Okay, we had to take about 25 thousandths off of them. Okay, but they are all the same. There's a little bit of burr on here. Use a file like this. Stay off of this surface here, and especially this edge right here, because this is the edge that you're going to take and use to take your readings. Okay, so minimal work on this edge right here, but on this edge here on the back, and this edge here, and way over here, go to town. Okay, so let's get these deburred, and I'll show you what we're going to do next. So for all intents and purposes, these tools are complete right now. Okay, they're ready for use right now. One thing that we are going to do is we are going to degrease them because we use various cutting oils in our machinery to take and make these things. And we used oil, to do the holes and then to take and chop them to size. But we're going ahead and we're going to paint these black because they are hot rolled steel and we don't want them rusting up. On these edges right here, we are going to put a piece of tape on here and put a piece of tape on here, and we're going to keep that bare, and we are going to take and paint that white. Okay, so the reason we are going to paint those white is that is going to be the indication area where you take and measure that up to the tape measure, and it'll make it easier to take and match up the black marks on the rule with a white edge. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and degrease these and then get them all painted up and everything, and the next thing is I will show you how to use them. So we finished off the tools that you and I built, and they came out really, really nice. Okay, so we used black paint on there, and then on these areas here, we didn't have any white paint in stock, so what we did is we left them bare, and we found some clear coat, and we just went ahead and clear coated them. Okay, so now that we built these things, how do you use them? Okay, well, let's do that right now. Okay, so we have the S10 that's in here. We have 2 jacks underneath where the shocks are to take and level the vehicle out. Okay, the reason we don't want to take the tires off and then jack it up in the middle is because with this type of suspension, the wheels change geometry. So we want them in the same state that that they would be in if they were driving down the road. Okay, so for this job, we are going to have to pull the front wheels off and get to the rotors. So we're going to be using the lug nuts and a flat washer to go ahead and put these on there. We are going to be using 2 tape measures to take and measure the distance in the back and in the front of the wheel. Okay, so in addition to the tools, we're going to need the 2 tape measures. So since we are going to be relying on the measurement of the tape measures to take and tell us whether the wheels are in spec or not, okay, we must calibrate the tape measures. Okay, the reason that is because this little hook on the end right here, if you drop the tape measure on that gets bent, okay, and it will affect your measurements. Okay, so what we did is we went in the workshop and we got a piece of aluminum plate that we know is 5.5 inches wide. So what we'll do is, okay, so this one is 5.5 inches dead on. Okay, so that's a known measurement. And then we'll take the other one and we'll take and check that. That one is 5.5 inches also. So that completes our calibration procedure. Okay, so next thing we need to do is pull the wheels and tires off and mount our tool on there. So we have our tool installed, and we've picked up 2 of the lug nuts from the bottom. We have a 1/2 inch washer on here that when we tighten down the lug nut, it won't be taking the paint off of our tool. Okay, and we have our calibrated tape measures here. Okay, through the slot, we put a piece of tape on here because we're doing this, we're the only ones in the shop today, so there's nobody taking hold these in position. So we just put a piece of tape on here on both sides to take and keep that. Okay, let's go around the other side and see what's going on. Okay, so the S10 is driving really well. Okay, we know the alignment is good. Okay, there won't be any adjustments on it that we need. Okay, but we still want to take and see what the alignment spec is for this. We checked the alignment spec and we are within spec. Okay, so what we're doing is we're going right here and we're looking at the measurement. Okay, and the measurement is 57 3/4 of an inch. Okay, in the rear. And over here it is 57 7/8. Okay, so that means that we have a toe out requirement. Okay, and it's towed out 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so for future reference, we're going to take and make note of that when everything's fine and the suspension isn't acting up or anything and everything's tight. One thing I would like to mention is when you take and jack the car up, when you take and go to take the wheel off, check your wheel bearings first. Okay, if you have loose wheel bearings, it will affect this measurement. Okay, so we are in spec and there's no adjustment required. If we were to take and send this to the alignment shop, I checked with them, an alignment on this vehicle is $95. Okay, so it's taken $23.87 worth of material, a little bit of your valuable labor to take and make this tool, and the price of the tool is anywhere from $80 to $100, or excuse me, $120 on the internet. So you saved money there, and then if you go to a wheel alignment shop and you wanted to get your toe set, that would be $95, so you saved $95 there as well. The only other condition that has to be met is that the steering wheel must be in center steer position, and we're lucky that this just happened to take and lock when we turned the key off in the center steer position. Okay, so our wheel alignment on the S10 is looking really good today. So I really hope you'd enjoy us making this tool together. Thank you for coming along. Hopefully you can take and make up a set of these. You can take and use them. This whole pattern on here, by the way, you will have to take and make that for your own vehicle. Okay, this is not a universal set by any measure. Okay, so you can take and I showed you how to take and pick up the centers. I showed you how to take and do the relief, how to cut it to length. I didn't show you the paint job, but anybody can take a can of paint and put a coat on it. So I really appreciate you coming along. Thank you for all your comments, and thank you, your wonderful subscribers and viewers. Okay, and we'll see you next time. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.